Hello.
Hello.
Okay, so Doug is on. Let me figure out how to share my screen real quick. Here.
Working. Why isn't it working? Turn camera off.
Sorry, I'm still getting used to this computer and it's super sensitive. All right, there we go. You can see the agenda?
Yep.
Okay. So I guess I'm running the meeting since Janine's not here. So we have Doug on, we have Anthony, and we have Fabiola, sorry. So we have quorum. What do I do now? So can we verify that the meeting was properly noticed?
It was.
Okay, everyone had an opportunity to review the January minutes?
No changes for me.
Okay, so it says review and approve January minutes. So-
I'll move that review that. We need a second,
Yes.
and then all in favor? There you go.
Okay.
Doug approves, that amendment?
Sounds good. Okay, so now we get into discussion items. So the first thing that we're gonna go over is the SMS. So I finally figured out we do have more contacts in smart webs as I reported, but I figured out how to actually get the reporting of who has opted in. So we have more phone numbers in smart webs, but opt-ins are pretty neck and neck. So the actual physical numbers is kind of disappointing. It's 226 phone numbers on smart webs and 332 on Serenet
Wow. How many?
out of 4,587. Yes. But I mentioned to Janine, smart webs is still more user friendly in the sense that I got training on how to do the mass text messaging on Serenet. And in order to do a mass text message, I think I would need training again because it was not user friendly.
But are we saying that we only have the homeowners, there's only 250 or so?
That have given us
registered
permission,
Mail?
no, that had given us permission to text them.
Uh.
So smart webs, we have more phone numbers like at our disposal, but only 226 residents have given us permission to text them.
Okay.
And then on Serenet, 332 have given us permission to text.
I don't remember how we asked for that permission. How do we ask for that permission?
Well, both programs automatically, when they registered, have like a auto, would you like to receive text message communication? So when they sign in or create their initial account, they yay or nay it. I talked with Danica, who's in charge of the Covenants Department. Smart Webs is kind of their thing that they started off with because Smart Webs is more user friendly that you can sign on and send mass texting. It's very easy to use. She said that we do have the ability to mass email within Smart Web since we don't even have all the residents with logins. So we can mass email all the residents and be like, hey, you need to create a login if you haven't already. And the reason it's important is because we want you to enable email and text message communications in the sense of a crisis. Because I think a lot of residents are not giving their phone number because they think they're gonna get like spammed. So I think if we position it as we need you to enable that feature or, verify your account, because with today's day and age, you just never know. And we would like to have access to your thing where we will only communicate with you in case of an emergency or crisis. Then they might be more likely to opt in. Because right now, I think what's happening is they don't trust giving text messages on either platforms. It's obvious.
So where do they have to go to opt in?
So on Serenet, you opt in right on your profile. There's like a notifications tab. And you have to just go in and I think it's under your profile. And then there's a phone number and there was email. And then you have to go in and actually there's a little box you have to click to opt in for
But
text
probably
communication.
a binary decision. It's probably a yes or no.
Yes.
Whereas a lot of systems have moved to, right? companies that say, well, do you want to receive emails or text messages from us for certain things? And you have a menu of things, right? Yes for this, no for that, yes for this, right? Marketing, no. But advertisement or for promotions, like deals off, yes, right? So I wonder if we ought to go back and see about, first we'd have to do a campaign to reach out to people and say, here's the reasons why you should opt in.
That's it.
And then you gotta give them some choices.
Yeah.
I'm almost sure that when I sign on, my automatic is a no. Don't, thank you. No.
Yeah. I think that's,
Most people are gonna pick a no because they don't wanna be bombarded with junk,
yeah.
which we all are anyway.
Yeah, we're being too
I'm also-
passive. with it. So,
Yeah. But I'm gonna be a bit more thoughtful if you explain to me why, and then we purposely go out and ask people to do it again. Here's why, and then give them options. Like, would you like to know when board meetings are happening? Would you like to know when, if votes are happening? The important calendar dates, parties, events downtown. For that kind of stuff, I might be saying, yeah, I'd like to know when there's gonna be a festival downtown, right? Those kind of things, but general other things, maybe I'm not interested. So I just don't, I don't know how we're gonna do it, but it'd be good for us to.
I was thinking we just go with the motion that texting is literally, we're just emphasize that the text messaging and opting in is just for emergencies only. So to let them know, like, for right now, until maybe we have more buy-in, and then we can segue.
I can do it a second time. See, I think we ought to be thinking longer term to say, okay, we gotta get better at communicating to people about what's going on, important things, right?
Mhm.
And so I think that rather than say only emergency now, and then go back a year from now and say, oh, well, we now like you to opt in for other things too.
Yeah,
Maybe it works, it probably does work. For emergencies, I think you'll get a pretty good response. People are gonna go, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I'll opt in for emergencies only.
I mean, I spoke with a resident today, and I think part of it, and that's more of a communication issue that we have, is the residents feel like there's too many forms of communication. Cause then they're like, well, why do we have the app? She asks, why do we have the app? Cause I think we have the GoGov where I can do push notifications on. So she was like, I have the app. And she was like, and then what's SmartWebs for? And then so I like went through all the different communications, and I mean, she made a very good observation. There are multiple platforms. So I don't know if part of the
but are there
hindrance
any
is-
platforms that are for emergency use only? For now?
No,
See, that's the thing that separates this from that, and maybe we just go that route and see how receptive they are to it. Because if they're getting information elsewhere on the other events that Tony mentioned,
Mhm.
overkill is overkill. I mean, emergency is the pinnacle of importance.
Yeah.
Maybe we can use the app. We are not using so much the app.
So the app, I would not refer the app because I think, was it last week, they had me do a push notification about one of the pools. And the app does push out, but it only pushes out to anyone who has the app downloaded, firstly. Second, there is quite a significant delay on the app. So on the app, if I send out a notification, it's almost like 30 to 45 minutes after. So the app is not, in case of a real emergency, it's not time effective. Yeah.
What about our Facebook page?
Our Facebook page has a really good following, but I would say if I had to guesstimate, maybe 70% of it are non-residents.
Okay.
Yeah, that just like to live vicariously or, view what's happening in Celebration or see what event Celebration has to offer to the public. But I wouldn't say that our 15,000 followers on Facebook, that it's majority residents.
Well, maybe we can make a campaign through Facebook, but all Celebration Facebook,
Mhm.
official or not official, talking about the goods of messenger
Yeah,
messages by phone,
yeah.
explaining.
I mean, I lean a little bit more to what Doug mentioned is really, as Tony had mentioned, we already get some spam now in our phones. So I don't know if phone will ever be a good communication to say, hey, we have a movie in the park on Friday in a text message. I think it's beneficial to leave the text messaging for just
Emergency.
emergencies.
We can explain
Yeah.
that.
And then just explain that
Yeah.
you know, we want more buy-in for it, but the reason we want more buy-in and we're building this campaign is to focus on just emergencies and really
But
never invade.
Tony's right. You also have to sort of relaunch it
Yeah.
and focus on the rationale and talk about the primary purpose for it. Look, people are just lazy. If they get spam, you erase it. There's a huge difference between a spam message and an emergency communication. So
Yeah.
I think people are smart enough to figure out the difference.
For sure. And I see that now even on our back end of Klaviyo. Like now I'm starting to notice direct messaging in the sense of when it's regarding the pool is now starting to do better open rate than our Monday Matter or Friday Flash. Not by a lot, but we're at like 65% open rate for if a poll notification or the CROA voting. Where now the Monday Matters and the Friday Flash are going down more to like 55% or 52%. So residents do see the difference of something that is an important message that I want to read or kind of what's happening, you know, or what's happening newsletter. So I think if we share the importance of getting them to opt in for emergencies and with everything going on, I think now is the time more than ever to start that campaign.
Yes, I believe so much in Facebook pages. Everybody is into that. I read celebration pages all the time. I know all the news about
Oh, all the porches.
yeah, on the pools and everything.
Yeah.
Maybe through that instrument we can do it. We can explain.
I mean, as long as I think the committee as a whole is good with moving forward with smart webs, only because in case I'm no longer here, I think smart webs is the most user friendly. It's easily teachable. Anyone can pick it up. And then we just build a campaign. Take the current campaign that Janine and the committee started and kind of just reword it a little bit to place more of an emphasis on importance on why we need their buy-in for the case of a crisis. Because right now I think it's kind of more vague, like, you know, we want your buy-in, but I think we can kind of just change the wording a little bit.
Yeah, sounds.
Because right now I think part of the buy-in, why they don't have as much buy-in and why it's only, I think it's 27% of the 4,000 residents that have a Smart Webs account, and then we have that little tiny 226. I think it's because some residents haven't been in there because they think they only need it in case they get a violation, or they only need it in case they want to apply for something. So with this too, we can let them know that you should have it,
Yeah.
even if it's not just for those things.
Good luck.
Okay. All right, so then we're gonna look at, I'll submit the email SMS campaign. I'll email the committee and Janine saying that we just wanna kind of focus a little bit more on its importance for crisis communication. And then I'll submit that to Danica, who is our manager that kind of manages the smart webs. So that she can add the appropriate smart web verbiage in the beginning of our messaging on how you actually register and opt in. So, and then once she puts hers in, I'll email it to everyone for a final stamp of approval before we send it out.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the next thing on the task is to review the emergency communication plan. That, my understanding, Janine said everyone has and has reviewed. So really, if anyone has anything that they would like to change on it, or if they think it's good to just move forward with that. Okay. And then I'm gonna do the magazine last. I'm gonna skip to the fourth bullet point, which is, I did it this afternoon because I got here a little early. I did a quick Facebook story or Instagram story on the two businesses here. But we've gotten some feedback from the resident businesses here, as well as Celebration Point, as well as Watertown Shops, that on our social media pages, only downtown gets like FaceTime. I don't know how else to word it. So we were trying, I know we have the new marketing specialist, which Kanoa's working on their whole rollout of what that looks like for them. But in the meantime, I was trying to figure out if you guys have any suggestions on obtainable goals and how we can make the other businesses and the other areas of celebration feel a little bit more included, because right
Hmm.
now they feel not so.
But is
included.
it based on data? Are they correct?
Yes,
They are.
for the most part, yes. We don't do any events in the other sections of celebration. We only do it down there. For social media purposes, usually also only down there because it's for staff, it's the most easily accessible. Even the parks down in the downtown area get more, photos and FaceTime on every aspect. I want to say is just more focused on the downtown area.
I mean, it is the downtown area.
Yeah.
I mean, there can only be one heart, and that's it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so, but is their complaint, it sounds like their complaint is on the magazine specifically, or on our outreaches.
Not the magazine so much because I've been working on that. That's an easier fix, but they've been complaining that on our social channels that all the focus is on downtown,
What else would it be on though? To,
just Facebook and Instagram, really.
what else would they?
I mean, we could suggest to them that they designate a correspondent from Island Village to disseminate or funnel in information about whatever it is that's going on down there. So that might be a way to make them happy and also get them more exposure. The other thing I was thinking about is, I don't know if you guys have been to Island Village. Maybe you live there. I don't know, but there's no place to park. So if someone, there's a huge difference between the downtown area, people congregating there, centralized place, lots of parking, versus going over to Island Village, which has the little parking lot by the model. I guess the model is gone now, but there are a lot of inconveniences that we shouldn't like bend the knee to them. We should just offer them a communication device and they'll get more exposure. Maybe they'll be happy.
Just giving an idea, like a crazy idea. Maybe we can think about an RP solution, like celebrating the anniversary of that restaurant or whatever, and that day everything is around that restaurant or store, and in this more space in the magazine that month for especially that store or restaurant, telling the story about that place, how they came to celebration. That day they offer free coffees and celebrating that place.
Yeah.
That's a
So
good idea.
so we did kind of start something similar. The business spotlight, that is a little bit easier because it doesn't require us to go anywhere, but it kind of segues into that conversation about man hours, like, and back to what Doug said, the heart is the downtown area. So I'm trying to figure out how do I make them happy without us having to actually go everywhere. So I kind of like your idea of them sending information to us. Because then that kind of helps a little bit of it, say, hey, we'll share. I mean, we kind of have been saying that, but really focus on the if you submit it to us, we'll share it kind of model. Because to drive around all the
So
celebration,
is it Island Village and the New Publix area? Is that?
it's Island Village mostly. The businesses in Island Village because they're having a harder time. So the Island Villages doesn't get as much foot traffic. So
Yeah, people think celebration ends at the high school. They don't realize that now they can go down. And plus that interchange isn't done back there yet. So I understand their angst, but I think to offer them the opportunity they should do the proactive outreach. They should funnel the information to us and we'll get it posted. And I like Fabiola's idea of commemorating where it makes sense to get them more exposure to the businesses in Island Village. That's great. So Brenda, I would just sort of offer them a list of ideas for getting them exposure And how could they say no to that?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I haven't gotten one flyer from any business in Island Village,
No.
in my house. So there is something to be said about marketing your business. So, eh, what can I say? I mean, yeah, you chose to put a business in a place where the demographics are what they are. And there's one road in, one road out. What did you expect? So I hate to sound, I hate to sound like that, but it's like, this is one of those things that you go, duh, what did you expect? You're in the middle of the back end of things.
Yeah.
And we can help them.
Yeah.
Like we have a magazine. So as the story of that place,
Yeah,
Pictures.
we are doing one. Scoops will be in April's issue. So we're doing a spotlight on them, on how they came about into celebration and some photos. And with the business spotlight, we're rotating to each business district. So it's not the same, but that's a little harder because there's only 12 months in a year. So I can't do, I mean, we talked about doing the one article that encompasses a few businesses, but even then, the current right now as it stands, the business directory is at like 227 businesses or something. And that's only the ones that we know of. We haven't even, our marketing specialist has not even been out into the community to meet with businesses. So there's more here.
Yes.
So it's not feasible to put everybody in the magazine.
Just the anniversary of the month, maybe two
Yeah.
places. Do you remember the Winter Park magazine that I gave
Mhm.
you? It's all about the places in celebration, the
That-
story and
So I do love that one, and that I was going to bring up at the next Canoa board meeting, which is the Celebration Non-Owners Association, because the Winter Park one is an annual, it's a one-time annual magazine. So I definitely think that would be something beneficial for us to look into possibly doing,
yeah, maybe we can.
but I don't know if it's something that we're going to be able to do for free. The businesses would have to pay for it, but
This is not a part of this current solution, current.
Yeah.
How much of the real estate that is intended for commercial use is actually used at this point? Do you have any idea?
no.
So I don't know how much storefront there is, but maybe, let's say it's 50%
Mhm.
occupied and there's another 50%. So it's incumbent upon our community to get those areas filled, because otherwise it's empty real estate that's not making anybody money, right? But it seems to me that we can do a better job, and again, this is not for this meeting necessarily, of helping, making sure that those are being targeted for the right kinds of businesses. A business that requires foot traffic, i.e. a restaurant, is probably not gonna do well there. But an accountant's office, that doesn't require an awful lot of, traffic, or a real estate office, it doesn't require an awful lot of traffic, because that's where they come, when they bring their clients to do business. Or even a medical office, right? Or some treatment office where you're gonna come there because you're looking for a treatment. But if you're looking for foot traffic for a restaurant, it's gonna be trouble. It's gonna be hard for them. So how we market that storefront is gonna depend on whether we're helping them to be successful. You put up a donut shop there, I'm sorry, you're not gonna sell that many donuts.
Yeah.
It's just, it's just a reality. So,
And you mentioned that the Winter Park magazine is once a year.
Yeah, they do it annually because it's
Maybe probably we can do that. A very good magazine twice a year. And that is because I work in real estate and I take the magazine for my clients.
Mhm.
But it would be perfect to have one magazine that promotes celebration as
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what, oh wow, you really made
Yeah.
and we can work with the events monthly,
Yeah.
maybe in another way.
Yeah, that is the passport to Winter Park is a similar model was something I was going to propose to the Canoa board and they can figure out the funding and how they can make it happen. But I think at this point, that's the only thing that I can think of that to offer something to the businesses and that's equal to everyone. And everyone will have an opportunity to go in it, and that's something that physically someone can have, and
Yes.
they can see all the businesses. But right now, that's more of a proposal. I was just talking about right now, what can we do right now? I completely kind of agree with you that there's more discussion, but that's
Yeah.
also out of the realm of communications and what we
It
can,
is.
the
It
support
is.
we can offer them.
Yeah. I guess we all had a sense when you drove through here, says, man, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough for anybody who establishes a business out here. But I think Doug said it right on. I mean, you come out here, it's like, why would I drive all the way out here? There's nowhere to park. There's just a few stores. I can go downtown Celebration. I got numerous restaurants and a lively environment, and it is the heartbeat of the town.
Yeah.
Even the new one by Publix. But if you notice the kind of businesses that are there are a few restaurants and a few food places and they get pretty good traffic, right? Nobody can walk there except you're coming from, those apartments nearby.
Yeah.
Everybody else has to drive there. So, but they have great clips and some other services that people are gonna drive to, or they're gonna get it on their way to Publix, which is also right there.
Yeah.
So the Publix helps there. Here, you don't even have that to pull traffic in.
And even then, I've been in a few of those establishments and it's kind of empty. The
It's gonna be.
the brewing does well, but they have their own marketing team that works hard.
It's gonna be
So-
tough.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough go. And competing with your own town
Yeah.
center.
Well, I like your idea, so I think I'm gonna put that as our action item. And I think I have something similar that the marketing specialist has worked on. But I might have her separate it for just the social media channels of, we have no problem sharing your business on our, sharing it with the community, but these are the guidelines, and unfortunately, we don't have the manpower to go out to you all the time, so if they can submit it. And then maybe we look at it as like a once a month or once a quarter, where we can actually go to a district and then kind of do all the social media in one day kind of thing. And then we
I would
can
also
schedule
suggest to
it.
them to designate someone for your source of information, just in case they're lazy and they don't reach out to you. So you could just shoot an email to Joe Smith or Nancy Jones, whomever it is there, who could be designated as the correspondent for Island Village. And between their desire to get exposure, they need to be proactive. If not, you just ping them real quick and say, hey, do you have any news this month, or whatever the frequency is, you decide. So
Yeah, I think that's definitely a more obtainable way to deal with it now. Because I think what was happening too is, which as we build these relationships, it might get better, is in some of the districts, let's just say Watertown Shops, we have like one business that is just sending information, and the other ones are quiet too. So then it's kind of like, we understand you're the only, you are the only one sending information, but also we can't share everything you send because there are other businesses there. So I think also figuring out what that looks like too,
Wow.
because then it looks like there's only one business there. But I'll start drafting kind of what that looks like out. As I mentioned, the marketing specialist did create like a 1-page document that we haven't finished that kind of says all the opportunities or channels that businesses can submit to. But I think we can segue it out a little bit more than where they can send it, but what they send, how often they send. So we can kind of, so once she finishes, I think she's still in draft mode. Once she finishes that, I'll send it out as like a quick review for the communications committee to look it over. Because I know she's working on drafting that out. And then, so we're gonna go back to bullet 3, which is the magazine. So this is February's magazine. It's separated, so it's in order, but these are all the pages that are not ours.
Oh, wow.
Magazine. So I separated.
What percent?
Oh, I didn't even count. I just kind of, one second.
Say that out, we don't control the content?
Nope.
Yeah.
4, 5, 6,
Maybe
7, 8,
Probably you or two is
10, 11,
and
12,
it's another. But for the rest of the.
17 out of 52.
so that's a third.
But 15%.
That's not.
And then out of those, we have pages that are none, like this is always, so
Say 17 out of 52?
17 out of 52, including front and back cover. And then inside, we have pages that we can't touch as they're ours, but we don't touch because they stay the same, is, okay, sorry. This one we don't touch. Okay. I think all these I can, okay. So we're left with, out of 52, we're left with 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, so half. So half the magazine, we can, half of 52 minus 26 is, what, math, I'm bad at math. 24 pages left? So we have
Wait,
24 pages,
Minus 26 is 26.
what?
You said 52 minus 26, that's 26.
Oh, thank you. So we have 26 pages of, 26 editable pages in the magazine every month.
That's a lot of pages.
I was talking about the magazine with some residents.
Yep.
They use the magazine just to take out the events,
Mhm.
the calendar, and that's
The
all.
calendar of the events.
They took out the calendar, which I do too,
Get rid of
and
it.
that's all. Because it's the same.
Mhm.
I'm always impressed by, how pretty it looks. And my head goes immediately to, this is costing somebody money. I keep hearing that it doesn't cost us, the homeowners, money, but it's
Yeah.
costing somebody money. And I guess it's all the marketing dollars, right? That people
Yeah.
spend, all the realtor money, that sort of thing. So if we're sure that it's not costing us any money, although I have a hard time because it takes time for you to do what, I still question the value of it or whether we need it every month. I don't know. It's like,
When I came to live in Celebration, used to see the magazine and I said, "Well, this is so great, a magazine." But with the months and the years, no, this is the same.
it's the same thing, same faces, same real estate, same doctors, same everything, right? There's no interest, there's no special interest stories. Now there's a few here and there.
Yeah, but no,
It's-
still,
It's like one page out of, whatever, 50. And I'm just thinking, are we just killing trees instead of?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's people, the only thing that makes it different is the cover shot.
Yeah.
And otherwise it could be, it's basically the same publication each month. I mean, it makes sense from a standpoint of utility, making it valuable to people to bump it back to quarterly. Because then you can cover off on the seasons, on the holidays. You just need to always be ahead of things. So you could come out
You can still provide people that calendar they want, right?
Yeah.
Especially
Exactly.
if we know they're ripping it out,
By mail.
then let's make it so that it's easy to rip out, right? You can also build it so that, okay, that's the calendar I want. It's like, I pull it out and then you can have it. You're not having to cut it out. It's meant to be. taken
yeah,
out.
kind of like a poster and
It's
yeah.
meant to be a poster, right? And it's
Well-
meant to be your calendar for the 3 months.
I'm always curious how, I mean, I'm new, so I don't know how it all began, but who chose the material of the magazine?
We don't know any.
Because the magazine is very heavy.
It's expensive.
And I was told it's not,
That's why I said I'm impressed by how pretty it is.
yeah, and I was told that you can't recycle it because of that
Probably.
kind of heavy gloss
Yeah.
paper or whatever they
Oh,
use.
that's even worse. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, that they're not recycled, they're not, because they're not actual magazine like paper that you can't recycle them.
I think we need
Oh,
to.
that's too bad. I put them in recycling every week or every month.
Me too.
That's what I was told. I don't know the truth to it, but I was told that you can't recycle them.
That's possible.
Yeah, because of the material. I don't know. Honestly, I definitely second everyone's thought on it. I just don't know what the next steps would be. I don't know what next steps are to actually realistically tackle because it is the same thing. And I've tried to add a few things here and there. I have some cute things, but it's very,
It's a little
yeah, it's
Very-
very minimal changes that I've been able to accomplish, and it's very difficult. And so for me, I think Tony had asked me at one meeting, so it's about 27% of my work duties in a month. And then
It's a lot. That's a lot.
And then Nikki and her staff, the first time that the magazine gets delivered, I think it's it's at least an 8-hour day for one staff member once a week, at least.
So isn't it our job to just give the board a recommendation as to how we can make it a more utilitarian vehicle and to cut back on your workload and still accomplish the same thing? Because in each issue, with the exception of some events that are in there, doesn't have very timely information. I mean, it's kind of evergreen stuff. So isn't that what they would want us to do, just to give them a recommendation and say, based upon our professional expertise and experience in this space, here's what we think you should do, and just kind of do a one-pager that outlines the recommendation as to where we think this should go and why.
Yeah.
I think that's very fair. It's probably just that. It's a, what is the magazine currently used for? What is its current distribution? What are the pros and cons of it? And what are our recommendations? And the recommendations are pretty simple, I think, right? Its utility seems to be quite limited to the calendar of events, seems to be very useful for people. I suppose some of the advertisement is useful, but the realtor advertisement that I see, they're listing homes. Those homes are no longer on the market, or that information is obsolete as soon as
Yeah.
they put it in the magazine, right? So their picture is also, so the utility of the thing is very limited to,
Yeah.
I think, a few interest stories and the calendar.
Of course, the calendar, as you mentioned, we can
Just
just mail by
Send it
once
to-
a month.
We don't need
a one-pager.
These events are planned.
But the calendar would just have to be forward-looking, that's all.
That's
So
it.
Yeah.
if they get it in February, the calendar will be April, May, and June.
Correct.
Oh, I see what you're
It's
saying.
a quarterly calendar, right? So the publication comes out January 1st for the first quarter,
Mhm.
and it's got January, February, March calendar. Then on, February
I
27th,
see what you're
you're gonna
saying.
get, March 30th, you're gonna get Q2 magazine, and it's gonna have April, May, and June.
So we'll just be missing anyone that submits like events kind of last minute, but otherwise
There's
we'll
other,
have
yeah,
most.
but in the recommendation, we need to point out that there are other sources and resources that have that currency, and they're all
Mhm.
digital, actually. So it just makes,
Honestly, all this is digital.
But what
well,
about
it could
this?
be, but maybe we should just offer up some small bites. That might be too
Yeah.
dramatic.
Yeah.
But what about this? I think this, because it's a very lovely and very dear instrument of communication to celebration, is going to be a shock, change it.
Mhm.
So I think we need to rethink all the idea of the magazine of celebration, but deep,
Yeah.
very deep in maybe a special communication committee session just for the magazine, because the moment that we change this instrument, everybody is going to be affected.
Yeah,
You're
because
probably right.
yeah, it's the organization.
So what do you say? Can't take the Doge approach on this, but we just blow it up.
It's the it's the organizations that submit, I think, are the ones. I don't think it's necessarily the community that's gonna have a hard time. I think it's the organizations that are currently
There'll be
submitting.
some people who I think will hearken to the quaintness of the magazine,
Yeah.
right? And will hearken back to that's what makes Celebration community. It's part of our heritage, et cetera. But we're saying,
But can we not switch it to the Winter Parks model? Because Winter Park, they do it once a year, and it encompasses all the businesses, encompass a little bit of very.
it's probably a bit too dramatic.
Uh-huh.
I think quarterly is probably good. Or maybe to ease people into it, it's, every 2 months, bi-monthly. At least that way you're cutting down some of the waste, some of the trees, some of the time. And you're not, and we're seeing how people are responding to it, right? You're probably not gonna miss a beat,
Yeah.
right? So if you do, half the number of publications that you were doing before, that's probably a good improvement.
Yeah, and it'll also give more opportunity to actually get some more interest, because right now, part of the issue with getting interest piece is
There you
the
go.
fast turnaround because
Double the number of interest piece per magazine.
right now I'm waiting for the publisher to give me like the first draft, but in 2 weeks, I'm starting to work on the next month's
Yeah.
magazine.
I
So
know,
there's like no in between time.
Yeah.
I know the Winter Park magazine has a special team for doing the magazine. Maybe we can contact them
Yeah.
and talk about them to do a magazine for celebration, that kind of magazine, because we don't need a magazine for a calendar that we can mail to all the residents
Mhm.
monthly, or we don't need for advertising. So maybe they can give us ideas going forward with a new magazine.
Yeah.
There you go, a bunch of ideas for you.
Sounds
It's a lot. So that's why I'm saying that we need a special moment. more
So-
than-
Maybe offer them 3 options. One could be the Winter Park idea, one could be bi-monthly, and one could be quarterly, and then let them decide.
I like that. One second. Let me write that one down because
No, it's just, it's.
I know I have the-
Whether you wanna do it yearly, quarterly, or bi-monthly.
Maybe
Yeah.
they can give us ideas more clearly.
And you can, and you can, we, you know, we can then make bullet points as to what the benefit, the pros and cons are, like 2 columns. It shouldn't be too complicated. You could do it on 1 page, probably.
sounds good. I will work on that because I think everyone has a lot of input on what they want to see the magazine go to, but I think they forget about, as you mentioned, the manpower behind it. Also, the staff of 1.5, because I only have Stephanie
I
half-time
know.
to
It's
do
not-
it, yeah.
Yeah, Fabiola's right. I mean, it's kind of seen as a bit someone's baby. And we probably should, that's why it's probably better to let someone else decide and offer the ideas rather than just trying to jam it down their throats. That
Yeah.
this is the only good idea. Here are some options to consider.
Yeah, I'll build that out because, I mean, at this point, it would have to actually do anything to it, it would have to go up to the board
Yeah,
to make
definitely.
a decision. So I'll work on creating a yearly, quarterly, bi-monthly and pro and con
See where it goes.
and then also I'll put like an added note section of the call, because each of the green things that the residents have, those each cost like $350. And some of those are not in good condition throughout town. Then also the delivery, we do the delivery at the first and then they deliver like twice a week sometimes to other places. So just all the behind the scene things, because a lot of times I think a lot of residents just think what you say. There's no cost, so who cares? But
The
If
postal
you need a-
service would be really happy if we cut down the number of, you know.
it's
they
funny you
probably
say
hate
that.
thing.
Cause some go missing, cause I have a few residents that say, I didn't get it, and I'm like, you're on the list, and they're like, no, it's not in my mailbox, and I'm like, you have to call your postmaster, cause you're definitely on the list, so. That postmaster's bag might have been a little heavy that day.
All right,
All right, I think, let me go back to sorry, I had it.
If you need a person to talk with them, I can do it.
Yeah, I think we'll draft up the list of the 3 options and then pro and con, and then kind of like the cost and the manpower behind it.
I'm a
And then-
magazine editor, so
And then we can do,
it will be interesting.
yeah, it probably at this point won't be until April. So only if you come back for the committee next time, because
Got it.
right now we're in voting, so I'll draft it up and then it'll probably be right after the elections that we can try to propose it. I know. It's kind of hard. I wish I knew a little bit more. I've looked in like the documents to see if I can find like an original contract, but I was told we have no contract with them. The publisher. So I don't know if it's just expired, like,
long expired.
yeah, so I'm assuming we're just on a handshake agreement at this point, but how did they come about and when did the magazine change? Because I don't have it on me, but if you have some free time, if you go to the November, I think it's 2018 magazine, back when it first started, it looked like a magazine. It had more photos, it was a little bit more designed, and then somewhere along the way, it became text.
Commercial.
It became lots of ads and lots of text, and that's not how it started when it took the transition from their, like a the newspaper newsletter it looked like before.
How many years? had the magazine?
It looked like it started in the end of 2018.
18.
2018. No, before that, you only had that newsletter one. Yeah.
But the concept of it has been on from the beginning.
Yeah, that newsletter, it was very similar, just basically more pages to fill, but it was very similar to the same amount, kind of information. So, yeah. Okay, so any owner comments?
We have no owners.
Okay, anybody have anything else that they would like to add?
Good luck to you and whoever comes in to take up where we leave off.
Thank you. I haven't even made it a year, so I'm hoping as
Yeah.
it continues and I start knowing more, because sometimes I still, I'm
You're
learning.
new.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
I imagine the board, the new board, whatever the constitution of that is, if they're smart, they'll probably say, let's let these committees ride and see who wants to continue to serve.
Yeah.
Because it's just too short and the continuity of it kind of goes away, right?
Yeah.
But there might be people in.
So wait, is this our last meeting or something?
Yeah. So Jacob has not officially advised me, because I did ask him, like, do we have one next month? And he, from my understanding, we're all thinking no, but I haven't gotten a definitive no, but I think it is. And then I don't think the committee itself meets until April. So we take March off and then April. But
Oh, wait,
I'll confirm that.
okay, but we're not disbanding, right? We're just gonna take a month off, separate.
No,
that
no,
what you
the
said?
committee, I guess the way I think it works is that the board has to then nominate and approve whoever the new committee members are. And what
Oh, I
else
see.
is, what I thought, what I would do if I was going into a board is I'd say, unless I have a different idea, I'd say, well, that committee seems to be functioning. Who's on it? Ask them all if they want to continue, and then just let it ride.
Oh,
Yeah,
that would make
because
more
I
sense. But I
remember
was,
they petition for members, so that will take like 2 months. They do that again.
no, I was told that that's only like a 2-week process.
It wasn't a 2-week process.
Oh, okay.
It was not a 2-week process.
But, but I was told, yes, I was told that everyone has to basically refill an
Yeah,
application, and then the board picks the new members. But what you said.
Well, at least in the interim, right? In the
Yeah.
interim, I would ask the current committee members to continue to work until such time that the new committee is formed. But that would make a whole lot of sense, so I'm not sure it's.
Yeah. Well, I meant to check with Jacob today about whether we meet next month, so I'll follow up with him tomorrow to just confirm if in fact we are meeting next month or not, and then I'll email you all to confirm or deny if we're meeting next month.
All right, I'll be on
All right,
pins
I
and
move
needles
that,
until then.
I move that we close.
But
Oh, yeah.
before we close, I want to thank you
Thank you.
and all celebration team for this amazing year of communication issues and decisions.
Yeah.
You are very good. Thank you so much.
Yep. And before you close, I do have one thing to note, sorry that I forgot. And it's more just like an update. The smart webs and the covenants, they're actively checking the bylaws and the communication to see if they can do the ARC stuff electronically. It's a little bit more complicated. She briefly told me it's really complicated and they're in the very, very beginning stages, but they are actively looking into
I
it.
thought it would be.
So that's what she told me to report back.
The legality, I think that the bylaws require written notifications on things like that. So what the board probably needs to do is rewrite the bylaws, and then that requires a vote to accept the bylaws as rewritten. So it's a process, right?
Yeah.
But those bylaws were written many, many years ago, and the world has changed to a much more digital world. So, now it's normal for us to expect, and then we prefer, most of us, communications to be digital.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the mail, 90% of the mail we all get is junk mail. We don't even open it. We literally rip it up and throw it out before we even look at it, right? And so, and we're spending stamps and, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
No, it makes sense. I got a violation for my trash can and I got it immediately on my phone and I got it from my mailbox like 3 weeks later because I'm really bad with my mailbox. So it is faster on, because I don't check my
the
mail,
question is, why are you getting a notification about your trash?
because you can see it from the road in my neighborhood. If you can see it
Can?
from the
You left
road.
it out too long? Is that the issue? Was that the issue?
No, I left it on the side of my house,
Instead of the back?
but instead of the side in the back, yeah, so you could see
You're
it
a
from the
bad
road.
girl.
I
Very
know.
bad
See,
girl.
I gotta wonder the value of the manpower required to send you that letter. And I'm just gonna say.
And then give me a 30-day chance to move it to the back of
And
my
then they
house.
come back and check it again, right?
Yeah,
It's, those are the kinds of things that I go, okay, could.
So you're not, so basically, brother, you're not gonna get a Valentine's card because you're not gonna check
Could
your mail, so you won't get one.
Could we? not-
yeah, no, I won't get any Valentine's Day card. Well, I have, you know what it is, Doug? I have the alert from USPS that tells
Oh,
me
you
what's
have,
in,
okay, my wife
that
has
tells
that.
me what's in the mail, so I know when I actually have to go check it.
Got it. My wife does that too. Yeah.
So if I see something I need to go to the mailbox for, I will. If my mailbox was in front of my home, I would check my mail all the time.
I am going to purposely
Oh,
want to get that letter.
to see how long? Oh, you guys have like where your hose can be at?
Well, you're not supposed to leave anything that's not supposed to be out.
Oh,
So if you have a garden hose and it's not properly curled,
ring around.
sort of just leave it laying out, they will write you up.
I believe it.
I'm all in favor of standards for our community, otherwise it ends up looking pretty shabby
Mhm.
after a while. But I also am in favor of common sense. So anyway,
Yeah.
it would take him less time to go and help me put
Your
my
hose back.
back where it's not visible than to have him write me a letter.
I think sometimes, I don't know, there's a way to do, it's also appearance, like how, if my trash can was there, you could have just waited one more day and it would have been in the back when my husband moved it. But they see it and at that moment, they write you up for it, even though maybe you were in the middle of about to move it,
I think there's
Yeah.
a business model here that a young entrepreneur is not taking advantage of. If I was 21 years old and needed a job, I could probably go door to door, right? And I would inspect your home from the outside. And I would say, oh, okay, they're gonna call you for this, they're gonna call you for that. And then I would ring your doorbell and I would say, ma'am, you're probably gonna get a notification on these items, but I can take care of them for you if you like. I'll just charge you, $30 and I'll get them all done. Because usually, right? Because, so they.
You don't got no teenagers, you can make some money off of that. I would pay the kid.
Yeah.
Imagine if we provided, the society, the association could provide that service. And instead of sending you a letter, how about we send you a person that's gonna say, before we give you a violation for these, would you like us to take care of it for you? It'll only cost you, $25.
Mm-hmm.
Clean the gutter, do this and this and this, done. No, I'd be like,
You didn't.
right?
I paid the $20 for the clean
Yeah.
cans to come clean my trash can, so you would have got my money real quick.
I mean, there's an entrepreneur out there that's gonna figure that out. Anyway,
We're gonna make a
we're moving to close.
Yeah. in a
A
second.
second. Are you
Yeah,
saying-
yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Have a
right.
good evening, Doug.
Take care, Doug.
Hey, guys. Bye.
Bye.
When I was a kid,